you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering diversity, equity, inclusion. County office completely defunded, dismantled, and the entire staff has been eliminated. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from the post-millennial, breaking, Oregon's Clackamas County officially dismantles Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Office. And we have the history of how this started to come about, where they realized, you know what? We don't want this office anywhere in our county anymore. From Axios, Portland, Clackamas County DEI office faces an uncertain future. Well, it's certain now it's not going to exist. Also, from the Clackamas County website, a conversation with Clackamas County Equity and Inclusion Officer Martine Koblenz. Martine's going to need to find something else to do, but it's an interesting piece because it discusses in this interview what they were actually doing with almost $1 million a year, funding an office with 3 people. 3 people working there, they're blowing almost $1 million a year, and all they're doing is creating friction throughout the county and problems. But not anymore. First, let's get into the history. From Axios, Portland, Clackamas County DEI office faces an uncertain future. In a May budget meeting, the final one before a vote on the next year's budget, Clackamas County Commissioner Mark Shull proposed cutting the entire $828,000 budget for the county's Equity and Inclusion Office. 2 other commissioners agreed the idea was worth considering. The proposal exposed a local rift in the national debate about addressing racism and stirred concerns among some county residents. Of course, racism keeps being redefined. Currently, racism is supposed to give diversity, equity, and inclusion offices the right to be what they call anti-racist, which is actually just plain old racist. After emotional discussion at the meeting, Shull's defunding proposal was tabled, and county commissioners are expected to adopt the budget with the equity office funding unless amendments are introduced. Chair Tootie Smith is also planning a July meeting to discuss the office and its funding, saying, "I think an overhaul of the program is in order." Clackamas County created its Equity and Inclusion Office in July 2020, weeks after George Floyd's death, and following a series of resolutions supporting equity, diversity, and inclusion that began in 2004. The office wound up with 3 staff members and reports directly to the county administrator. It runs a support line for people feeling the impact of racism, immigration struggles, and other cross-cultural issues, acts as a resource to county staff, and has spearheaded research on communities of color in Clackamas County. Can you imagine they have $1 million a year to spend on something like this? Not anymore. In the budget meeting, Shull told other commissioners that for decades, Clackamas County had operated just fine without an equity office and believes it only foments friction and is an unnecessary expense. Shull's proposal led to an unplanned discussion among the elected officials, with some tearing up as they spoke. Commissioner Paul Savage agreed with Shull's proposal, saying everyone needs to feel that they belong. Commissioner Ben West, that's this guy, who fought for same-sex marriage rights and has adopted a black son, criticized the equity office, saying he won't let this county have an ideology that tells anyone else that because of their immutable trait, that they are a victim. And it's so disempowering to tell people that they're a victim. At the same time, they're telling people you're a victim, but the only way you can get your power back is if you attack these other people. Can you see how that could lead to potentially some problems? We are starting to see some of those problems in society today, which is what gets me so excited about all these woke shutdown videos I do. I've done more than 100 now. Please subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. You won't miss any of them. Well, this stuff isn't about folks being born into victimization. It's about barriers and systemic racism and systemic issues that have been put in place to keep folks from going places, according to Desi Nicodemus, president of the Milwaukee City Council in Clackamas County. The proposal to defund the office ended up making a whole community of folks in Clackamas County feel unsafe, he said. Shull faced a recall campaign almost immediately after winning a seat in 2020 based on social media posts opponents said were racist. The campaign dropped the effort, telling Axios it was too onerous and is focusing on recruiting candidates to the board in future elections. No matter what happens with the budget vote, the equity office could see funding changes after the planned July discussion about its purpose. County Administrator Gary Schmidt told the board it can adjust the budget anytime. And they have adjusted the budget. It's gone. From the Post-Millennial, breaking: Oregon's Clackamas County officially dismantles Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Office. The Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in Clackamas County, Oregon has officially been dismantled after officials voted to cut its bloated budget of $828,000. Clackamas County is one of the 3 counties that make up the greater Portland area. The decision was made as the war against the anti-white racist initiatives, otherwise known as diversity, equity, and inclusion, has taken hold in America as enraged citizens have started to rebel against the progressive policies that they claim cause more harm than good. County Commissioner Mark Shull proposed cutting its extravagant budget last year, which resulted in an extreme backlash from the far-left population in Oregon. However, since Clackamas County is more moderate than neighboring Multnomah County, which includes the city of Portland, officials were able to successfully kill the department. County Commissioner Ben West, who has an adopted black son and became notable when he fought for same-sex marriage rights in the state, was one of the leading voices in the successful attempt to dismantle the department. In a statement, West told the Post-Millennial, Clackamas County has shown moral clarity and leadership by dismantling its DEI department. In Clackamas, we promote classic liberal and American values, good government over ideology, promoting hiring based on merit and competency, and not necessarily focusing on a person's immutable traits. In Clackamas, DEI work was divisive and heavily influenced by a radical ideological worldview that measures fairness on the equality of outcomes rather than the equality of opportunity. Now, Clackamas County can better serve its constituents regardless of their immutable characteristics, he added. Clackamas County had established the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Office in July 2020, weeks after the death of George Floyd. Ben West confirmed to the Post-Millennial that the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Department has no more staff and its website will officially come down in February. So those people are out of the office. Over the past few months, DEI policies have captured the attention of prominent outspoken billionaire businessmen such as Elon Musk and Bill Ackman amid escalating backlash over increasing anti-Semitism allegations on college campuses. Employers are now trying to rebrand diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in an attempt to distance themselves from the controversial progressive scheme. However, as the years progress, it's going to be difficult for businesses to meet their diversity, equity, and inclusion quotas as attacks on DEI will likely continue to increase. In an effort to increase diversity, the policy frequently resulted in the selective employment of minorities or specific demographics, resulting in the automatic exclusion of white people. Because of this, some claim DEI is reverse racism. Elon Musk recently stated that people will die due to DEI after reports showed that airlines are prioritizing diversity over safety. As crazy as it sounds that airlines would prioritize race over safety, they actually have done it. It started during the Obama years. Standards have changed. They've been lowered. Recruitment has changed. Training has changed. It's getting very scary. Here's what they were actually doing in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office over in Clackamas County. In this interview, they asked, why is there a need for this office? Employee Martine Coblins replied, Clackamas County recognizes the historic and cultural structures that perpetuate inequities and have deep impacts on our entire community. We recognize that people are differently situated given their race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicities, age, socioeconomic status, national origin, disability, and other intersections of identity. The county is working to be responsive to meet these needs given the inequities. We are here to recognize and uplift the lived realities and experiences of residents, particularly from historically underrepresented and marginalized groups. Our vision is to be a Clackamas County where people thrive and have a sense of safety, connection, and belonging, so that each person is honored and celebrated for the richness and diversity they bring. Of course, even if these were reasonable goals, there's no way to accomplish this. You can't do it on a budget of $1 million a year. You can't do this on a budget of $1 billion a year. People have lived experiences, but they don't necessarily have the experience they need for things that they want in society. That's why we have a merit-based system, so that everyone gets an opportunity. They then ask, what is the office's purpose? We will lead a culture of learning and awareness of equity and inclusion by guiding, supporting, and collaborating with employees and residents to foster welcoming communities. We will create greater connections where all people thrive and belong. It is the responsibility of all county employees to serve residents while holding to our principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our intertwined values in this effort include courage, compassion, learning, gratitude, and connection. Having an office dedicated to this work helps provide direction to countywide efforts and holds the county accountable to these values. So the entire county is then captured by this ridiculous racist agenda, as long as this office is in place. And now it's not. What are the office's overreaching priorities, though? First, we are creating a culture of learning and awareness by providing equity and inclusion training for county employees to better understand equity, diversity, inclusion, and how these topics are embedded into all our work at Clackamas County. Learning and training opportunities countywide with partners, cities, organizations, and consultations and coaching options to county departments to address needs specific to their departments or projects they're working on. But that's not all. Next, we are creating a sense of community and connection by supporting employee resource groups formed by employees to gather around a topic of shared identity, interest, or experience to help people feel connected and have a sense of belonging in the workplace. Creating meaningful engagement with the community through cultural events. Holding deep discussions with marginalized community voices on creating welcoming environments. Collaborating internally with human resources and county department managers on hiring employees reflective of community, so helping the county to discriminate when they're hiring. And I should say illegally discriminate because it is illegal to do that. Implementing retention practices to ensure that diverse staff feel they belong. So special extra bonuses for people who they consider to be diverse unfairly not offered to other employees, because retaining other employees isn't important. Just certain employees that look a certain way, or maybe have certain gender, or maybe have certain sexual preferences. Last, we are creating greater access and support by clear complaints process internally and externally so people have informed consent and a clear understanding about their options when they have experienced harm and want to seek support, and training and consulting with county departments on how to be culturally responsive, meet the needs of communities, and create welcoming environments for their employees and county residents, ensuring that certain communications are multilingual and multicultural when reaching out to our diverse populations. Building stronger partnerships with culturally specific organizations, community partners, and other jurisdictions to address larger system-wide issues such as housing, healthcare, transportation, public safety, etc. Clackamas County did a brave thing getting rid of this nonsensical $1 million a year office that obviously was only creating friction, problems, and making people feel entitled to things they were not entitled to. To think that certain county employees are going to get certain benefits because of their skin color, or what they call their diversity, and other county employees wouldn't get that alone is enough to create one lawsuit after another, total unfairness in the workplace, total friction and trouble in the workplace. It's great to see they shut this down. The employees, as of today, are gone. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.